Welcome everybody to Insights in Action with Orange 142. Today I am joined with Jonna of Fast Track Marketing. Jonna, how is it going today?
Amazing. It's a beautiful fall day here in Colorado.
Awesome. Has it started to get cold in Colorado yet? I don't know. I haven't talked to my sister who lives there recently, but I don't know if it's not started yet.
But you never know if Colorado today it's supposed to be 70 and tomorrow there's supposed to be our very first snow. So we're
Uh,
we're ready for whatever Colorado throws our way right now. It can be hot or
yeah,
cold.
that's interesting. Here in San Diego, it's been pretty cold and windy, which is uncharacteristic, but we're getting through it. We've had like 200 days of sunshine already, so it's really nice. I would love to start this off. I'd love to understand a little bit about you and your background, and I'd also love to understand a little bit more about fast track marketing.
Yeah, I have owned Fast Track Marketing since 2015. I had a goal of being an agency owner straight out of school, and through kind of a unique path, I had the opportunity to acquire Fast Track Marketing, and it has been mine ever since. One of the things that really makes us unique is that we really focus in healthcare and medical marketing, predominantly in eye care and cosmetic surgery. With that being said, we have always focused on ways to build practices. And sometimes that's through unique lead generation, or sometimes it's in practice consulting to help people with their patient flow and lead conversions as well.
Wow, that's a really interesting story that you bought fast track marketing. It's not, and there is thing to be said about building your own company all the way up from the ground up to actually just buying a successful company or at least a working company. What were you doing before you bought the agency?
So I was actually working here. It's kind of a unique
Oh,
story. I'm going to tell you the story. I had worked with Doug Sims, the previous owner, and I was essentially working on being his right hand person while he was headed towards retirement. He actually passed away unexpectedly, and then I was able to keep the company going through that process. And long story short, I had the opportunity to buy the company, keep it going versus having the family shut it down. And that's
a unique story. Fast track marketing's mission, I know, is to help medical practices not only generate leads, but also convert them. And so I guess I was curious, I mean, how do you ensure that your approach to lead conversion aligns with the unique needs of medical practices where that patient trust and that long-term relationship aspect are very crucial?
it all boils down to patient education. And we have done industry wide surveys in the past, and it takes the average elective surgery patient 3 months to 3 years to actually make the decision to go into a practice. And we found that really nurturing and being the source of education throughout that process allows the patient to choose the practice. So we have a system that essentially works on patient education and making sure that the practice is the one building the trust, and then also we take a deep dive when we start working with the practice to make sure that their inside reality matches what we're putting out there as the perception to, and making sure that the whole entire process is top notch, and that conversion process is exceptional too, just simply because so many times um, sales is sometimes a bad word in the medical space, but it really is a sales process, right? They're selling their practice, their ideas, their doctors, et cetera, and really working on that wow factor to ensure that patient experience is truly that something that they want, that is the patient is wowed by and they can tell their friends about and want to shout from the rooftops how great of an experience it was.
I loved what you said there about this being a sales process because I mean, I come from a family of doctors and people in the medical field. And no, I don't mean to offend anybody out there or anything like that, but it's for people who dedicate their lives to one thing. When they go into practice, there's so much to learn when it comes to running a business. And a big part of that is marketing and sales. So the fact that you bridge the gap is fantastic. And so do you think that more than other industries, the knowledge from patients or knowledge from your target customer is what drives conversions the most, like education?
It tends to help, and then low risk offers. So things like self-evaluation tools, things that help them ultimately start saying, like, could I actually do this? Right. Like getting them engaged. We also see a huge impact when a practice doesn't use online scheduling. Overnight, things can dramatically change just because of
Wow.
where people are at with their busy schedules. And If you don't meet people where they're at, then they're not going to chase you to find you, right? Like if you have to leave voicemails or anything like that, practices that struggle with that or call volume or anything like that, you generally see fewer conversions. But the minute they embrace some of the tech that's available, do online scheduling or offer some low risk offers and as part of the conversion tools, then that usually helps the practice immensely.
Yeah. So a lot of those same principles apply when it comes to and I think that's a big misconception in the medical industry specifically, that what applies for in terms of like low risk or risk reversal offers, that's it spans various industries, and people might not think that it works for medical, but it definitely does, right?
It totally does. Everybody wants something to be easy. They want to know if it's right for them and they want the easiest possible way to make the decision, right? And so if you're throwing barriers like have to call between 8 and 5, find out if you're a candidate in a difficult manner where you have to go through a 12-step process or anything like that, then it definitely makes it harder. So we really focus on how to make the process as easy as possible for patients and make the decision really for them, right? We're going to lead them down that path to be like, yes, this is perfect for me. This is the practice for me. And this is really easy to make that decision by scheduling with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And as it comes to medical practices, I know that often means partnering with doctors who may want to be involved in every aspect of the business. So I guess I'm curious, how do you guide clients to focus on patient care while trusting your team to manage their marketing efforts?
So, anytime I've had a doctor that has been super wanting to be hands on in the marketing, I will usually collaborate with them, get their understanding, and then I essentially redirect them and say, now it's time for you to go be the doctor because that's your expertise. My expertise is medical marketing and I've got you. Right. So there's that fact finding mission up front, understand their vision, their goals. We carry it forward. And usually we then just have basic monthly or quarterly meetings based off of their preference, and they're usually thrilled with what's going on, and there's less of that hand holding. There are doctors who love to be involved in their social media, which I absolutely love, which is a little bit different aspect, and there's more frequent communication there, but that's also a little bit more rare
Yeah.
than not. Most of them want to be involved in the decision making, and then we can essentially execute after that. But it is a little bit of coaching and saying, we've got you and you should be focusing on being the doctor and being exceptional there. And we can guide your marketing and your team to really help grow your business.
And in that same vein, you mentioned that clients who are open to change and growth tend to see the best results. You mentioned that off camera. Then I know you mentioned coaching and collaboration just now, but are there any other strategies that you use to help clients embrace new ideas, especially in a field as specialized and regulated as medical marketing?
Yes. The cool thing is because we are specializing in medical marketing and we work with practices all over the country, we have like the new adopting practices that are always my go-to and say, hey, here's a great new idea. I want to test it or try it. And so then I can then bring that to the other practices and say, we knocked it out of the park with this. We just have to tweak X, Y, and Z in a formula for you and your market. So I have different thresholds of clients that are always like my test pilots ultimately. And then I have clients who that are a little bit slower to adopt, but are willing. They just need to have some data behind it. And so once we have that, we're able to ultimately showcase that as well and get them on board. The other thing I always just knowing doctors and where their mindsets are and their decision making processes. I can tell you the doctors that trust their marketing to their administrative team usually see growth year over year. The doctors that like to stay in the weeds and I don't want to say they're obstructing things, but their schedules do obstruct progress sometimes, right?
Well,
Like they're focused on being patient, servicing patients and not necessarily on all the things. When they empower their team to make decisions, we move a lot faster and we see better results quicker.
yeah. And I think the interesting thing is because doctors are so specialized in their fields, they're very used to being hands on with patients. They guide every part of the patient process. And I think one of the things that you learn early on in business specifically is to trust your team to do the work, to be able to delegate. And so I think our natural reaction as business owners, and I'm talking about doctors, I'm talking about marketing agencies or owners, is at first we think, hey, I have to do everything myself to make sure it gets done. A little bit of that owner's magic. I think it's this essential business, this lesson that you learn that you've got to allow yourself to step back. And the thing is with doctors who are just starting their businesses, in their 30s, they have to go through all of those lessons. They're just going through them a little bit later than we are. You know what I mean? So that's cool that there's somebody out there like yourself that's kind of facilitating that process a little bit and be like, hey, listen, you do what you do best and let me do what I do best, and teaching that essential business lesson, which is cool. And I know you've got this specialized focus on medical marketing. And I guess I'm curious, how do you guys view collaboration with other agencies or partners to bring on additional value to your clients, especially on sometimes those like complex campaigns?
We definitely collaborate with different resources and different partners. The biggest thing that we always focus on is HIPAA and maintaining the HIPAA compliance that medical is required to adhere to. But there's definite opportunities where we partner with different products or agencies that really can help our clients grow to that next level.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's so important because, and I've probably said this 100 times on this podcast, but I think that marketing as an industry is much more relationship based than other industries. I think that most clients they want everything in one house. They don't want to go to five different agencies for five different things. And that hasn't changed. And I think 10 years ago, and maybe you can speak to this when you were in your journey in fast track marketing, but agencies for the most part were trying to do it all. It was a jack of all trades type of thing. And now I think it's moved in the sense that I don't think that the client's need for having one agency that does it all or just not for the convenience of it. I don't think that need has changed, but I think more and more agencies, it's shifting in that they're realizing that, hey, this is what we do best. And we'll go out and partner with other agencies that can complement what we do and do it that way. Is that kind of how you're seeing that as well?
In different facets, yes. I think especially when we look at digital marketing,
Yeah.
we have areas that we completely excel at. We love our AI platform. We love the data we can get from it, and but there's different aspects where we can use some more robust targeting or things like that, where we're able to partner with some digital agencies that offer something slightly different than what we offer. That's an added layer to essentially garner that success.
That's awesome. And you mentioned, again, off camera, but you mentioned an interest in leveraging AI to enhance campaign. And I'm curious, how do you see AI technology transforming the landscape of medical marketing? And what role do you think it's going to play in lead generation and conversion for practices?
So, one of the things that I think is really paramount is AI being able to essentially help us meet our KPIs and see that we're meeting them faster. One of the things that I absolutely love about the technology available today is that we can set a KPI for a practice in our digital software and it'll optimize towards that goal. Of course, we're manually optimizing and manually trying to reach those goals as well, but the software can optimize much quicker than any human ever could. So
Uh,
we're able to see lower cost per leads and cost per clicks across the board, which is really exciting. Another layer of that is being able to use dashboards that when you're thinking about high volume practices and calls that are coming in and everything else, obviously in a HIPAA secure environment, but we're able to essentially quickly see the outcome of the call. Were appointments booked? Is there coaching opportunities available as well via AI, essentially transcribing calls and summarizing them for
uh,
practical? So that's like a really amazing tool that I'm so excited to be able to see and use because
uh,
so often than not, it's like, okay, well, 5 years ago, we had to, if we wanted to see the outcome of a call, we had to listen to the call, right?
yeah.
Right now, we can say, okay, here's consulting opportunities because we know those practices struggling with that conversion or the phone
Uh,
answering or how many phones or phone calls are actually going to voicemail. It's amazing to see if we have one end of the spectrum where we have the doctor saying, I need more leads, I need more and more, right? Okay, well, so when we're looking at that full process and being able to leverage AI in place, we can say, well, here's what we know.
yeah.
There's actually 30% of your calls going to voicemail because between the hours of 8 and 1, you guys can't handle the volume or whatever it might be, right? And so we can use AI to really see that data and see it quickly and make decisions much faster than ever before. And I think that's really key is being able to use it to AI to generate data that helps us make quick decisions that have a dramatic impact on practices bottom line.
Yeah. And I think you guys are using it in the perfect way because sometimes you hear about people using AI to replace tasks fully. And I don't think that's what AI is for. It's there to make your lives easier, so to make your clients' lives easier. And that's how it sounds like you're using it. And you're right. It opens up so many more opportunities to for yourself to work with clients. And that's really cool. I like hearing the way that you guys do that. This has been awesome, Donna. I would love to understand, well, I'd love to hear more about, lastly, just like where can people find out more about yourself? Where can people find out more about Fast Track Marketing?
You can go to our website, trackmarketing.com to find more about us. And I'm on the site, but I'm also on LinkedIn. You can hit me up on LinkedIn or some other social channels too, but that's my primary. So yeah, that's probably the easiest way to find me is LinkedIn or my website.
Okay, cool. I'll have both of those linked in the show notes below to make it easy for anybody listening to go. Well, this has been fantastic, Donna. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining. I feel like I learned a lot, and it's really cool to see how you guys are especially using AI for your agency.
Awesome. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here today. I'm excited to see this come to fruition. Thank you for having
Yes,
me.
for sure. Thanks.